Welcome back to our podcast, episode 11. Today we will be interviewing the man behind the camera, the man who makes all of this happen, Joshua Hamlett.
Oh yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Alright. You like to start with the questions.
So what made you want to start working on the podcast and upload it to your YouTube channel?
So, on Wednesday on the second week of school, August the 14th, I remember we were all doing chapel one day, and I remember that this all started out with Dr. Anderson, which I more call him Andre sometimes for my personal reference, created something that's kind of like a special thing, kind of like a club afterwards, called the Gift Shop, which means you do different types of clubs, which I can't really remember what they were called besides the podcast. As we got done with chapel, all of us, including me, walked into this room with microphones and computer connected with it as controlled by Payne and Miss Kreslin taking pictures and all that kind of stuff. And I was almost not going to even think about recording the episode until God was like calling me to do it. So I recorded the first episode of the podcast, and later after school, I went home and went on my iPad until I thought up even a better name for the podcast, called the Restored Podcast instead of Restoring Hope Christian Academy's Spiritual Gift Shop Podcast.
That's really cool.
I got a question. So, what got you into like video editing and stuff?
So it all started in 2011. Even before I started making videos, I would borrow my mom's Android phone and record it off from the original iPad that I used to have, but now she has an iPhone. But I would just watch YouTube videos from my iPad at that time, which apparently it was around that time that I didn't had a YouTube channel.
What kind of YouTube videos did you watch?
I would used to watch Fred and Annoying Orange and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember Annoying Orange.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And apparently 3 years later, I got a newer, improved iPad Air for Christmas in, well, basically around 2013, and that next month after is when I really got into editing, and normally I would use iMovie to edit everything and title text and including changing the background too.
I used to when I was at Brentwood, I actually took TV. I took a class called
Videography?
took a class called like TV producing or something, and we filmed at like sports games, football games, baseball games, softball, any type of game. Filmed any type of event. Then we'd go back into the studio with like these very high-tech computers. Not high-tech computers, high-tech editing workshops, and then we'd edit the videos, and then we'd put them on the school's news channel, which comes on live TV on the News Channel 9.
Do you have a question on there?
What is your favorite subject in school to do during your free time?
So free time, that would mean Learning Lab, and the reason that I chose that is because I would absolutely spend a lot of time doing other homework and even work on other things besides homework, which we haven't been getting lots of them as we did last year.
Yeah, we had a lot of homework last year.
And other things I use is to make intros is basically IntroMate and Intro Designer, and if y'all want to know, I can get really creative using Instalogo, using PNG, dropping into iMovie by using picture-in-picture or even green screen to improve the creativity of all different sorts of apps that I use.
Oh, that's what we used.
PNG?
We use PNG to edit. Do any of your editing programs cost money? Like, do you have subscriptions to like iMovie or something like that? Or are they all free to use for the public?
Well, most of the apps that I bought were free, and some of them were a little bit of money, but the majority I would try to always find something that's free to basically be more careful of what I get depending on the ones that I would use for the perfect usage.
So you'd say the majority of them are free? So, like, anyone could do this?
I'm not really sure what to say about everybody as long as they don't copyright with everything with the URL.
Does it require a good like PC to do this, like a good computer?
Well, with that, as a matter of fact, I would kind of wish I had a Final Cut Pro to do all the editing instead of using the easy parts with iMovie and have it more reliable with Final Cut Pro.
It's an upgraded version of iMovie. It's really nice. Final Cut is.
Case, I do have a friend that has a YouTube channel as well. His name is William Cox, and his channel is called The Mr. Black Knight, where he makes like vlogs and all other things like traveling videos, and you should really check him out and subscribe to him.
Do you know how many subscribers he has?
He has about at least 77 subscribers, and I have 96 subscribers.
You're three away from 100. Let's go, John.
That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
That's like more than we have. That's more than we have up here almost.
Yeah, pretty soon, if I ever get a total with replying 100 subscribers, I might do a special video about it as well, or even creating a song if I like ever come up with one.
How are you so good at editing and doing your video stuff?
Apparently, I just am. And speaking of that, my sister used to do iMovie a very long time ago, and by making plush videos, and she would also use like Littlest Pet Shops and use one of those Pokemon dolls and all that stuff, and she would do it with her friends as well. And whatever we would go up to Ohio, which we don't as much anymore, I'll tell you a brief story about it. She used to also have a friend, which is basically a friend of my mom's daughter, in their house in Perrysburg, Ohio, down in their basement, and they would like make like bizarre Lego videos and all other stuff. And I would even remember them keeping an eye on them, how they make it and how they would use it on iMovie and all other stuff, how they shoot the video and editing things on iMovie at the same time. And it was so funny and hilarious in how they do it. And I would really wish to show you that to you guys sometimes, and if you'd be interested in that, with that kind of position of imaginary and everything like that, of how that happens.
That's really cool. So wait, how did you make the intro? Because it's really
Yeah, so that intro was sick.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was around the time I even worked on the first episode of the Restore podcast, and I did use different apps besides iMovie, like 2 other ones. I got the music and parts from the backgrounds from Intro Maker, and one of them from Ustar were basically the expensive ones, and it took me almost all weekend of working on the processing and getting into the right type of way at the same time. So as you know, I record the episode and upload it a week later, and even though it could take less sometimes, but I still upload it a week later, usually on Wednesday. And sometimes I might do just audio recording, as I did on this episode today and also episode 9, and I do have the recording video of the footage of it for episode 9 if you guys wondered. So I'll probably get to work on that as soon as possible. Around Thanksgiving or Christmas is when I'll probably start getting into the process of that, so stay tuned for that.
I like it. It's really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. This is the ending of Restore podcast episode 12. Episode 11. Sorry.
I thought you were going to say the end of the podcast, so like just in general. Wait, what?
And hope you stick around for the next one.